Do you live in Mexico or spending more time here and you're literally still struggling to learn Spanish? I need you to give me a few minutes right now. I'm going to share with you the exact system I use to go from barely speaking a word of Spanish to full fluency. And this system has worked for me for not only Spanish, but other languages such as Italian, French, Arabic, and also Turkish. In the video, I'm going to give you a little history of why I started learning Spanish back in my 20s. And yeah, it was because of a girl. But more importantly, I'm really going to demonstrate through this video that this system can absolutely work for anyone. Plus, if you stick around, I got a really funny story. Probably the most embarrassing thing that ever happened to me during my Spanish language journey. It's going to make all of your tiny mistakes literally look like a nothing burger. All right, so how did this thing all start? Why did you learn Spanish, Joel, back in your 20s? Well, I was dating a girl. I spent a lot of time at her home. Had an amazing family. Like any Latin American family, they love to have a lot of chisme at the dinner table. I know most of the time that her and her sister were also always talking about me. So I had to make a decision, and I had to make that decision quick. I needed to learn Spanish. So I enrolled in Spanish classes in the University of Winnipeg, which is the university that I went to. And to supplement it, I actually bought these CDs. Yeah, CDs. That's basically, I'm aging myself here a little bit. But I started with a CD from a learning system called Pimsleur. But literally, those CDs really work. So if you kind of fast forward from when I started this journey to when I kind of reached my 30s, the girl was gone, but interestingly enough, my friends, the Spanish was still up here in my head. All right, so you want to hear something funny? Back in the early Spanish days when I was taking Spanish at university, we had this exercise where we had to come up in front of the class and explain, what you did from the moment you woke up, and then basically how you spent your day. So I'm up there in front of the class and I'm going like, hoy en la mañana me desperté temprano. So today in the morning, I woke up early. Preparé mi desayuno, tomé un café. I prepared my breakfast and I had a coffee. Y me fui, and I went. And then I said, me trabajé todo el día. Me trabajé todo el día. And the teacher kind of looked at me and smirked and giggled, and later came up to me and said, she goes, your presentation was fine, but if you meant to say you worked all day, you would say trabajé, I worked, trabajé todo all el día. But you actually put in the me, and a lot of people get this mixed up in Spanish. And basically how that translated was I literally was working myself all day. Get it? Let's take a beat. Literally, guys, if I could survive that mistake in front of my university class, I said I was basically masturbating all day. You can basically overcome any of the mistakes you have made. All right, this is super important because literally you can learn a language, but you can lose it. And I did learn Spanish and I did lose it. Why did I lose it? Because I was not using it. Using the language is super important. But here is the great thing. If it's in your brain, it is there. You just need to reactivate it. Then after that, into my 30s, I met Jillian. Jillian and I got married. We have 2 children. When Adelaide is a year and a half, we make our first trip to Mexico. And keep in mind here, guys, my Spanish is, I never use it at that point. It was kind of non-existent. So when we arrived in Mexico for this first trip we ever did, my Spanish was pretty rusty, but I really was humbled when I first got here. So every year we would come to Mexico, we would visit here for a couple, 3 weeks. So every time we would come back here, I would re-implement my system. I would do a series of Michelle Thomas CD lessons prior to the trip. And by the time I arrived here, it was actually not so bad. And then every year it would just get better and better. Then here is the big change. When we moved to Mexico 13 years ago, everything literally changed. Within less than a year, I went from being semi-fluent, fluent enough to get by in, kind of day-to-day activities, to being able to open a business, talk to lawyers in Spanish, like deal with the municipality in Spanish, dealing with all kinds of people in Spanish. And why? The reason why is I forced myself into the fire. I made sure that every time I was in a situation where I had the opportunity to speak Spanish, I used it. And even when I was in a restaurant and the waiter would start speaking back to me in English, I would speak back back to him or her in Spanish. I would force the situation. So literally once you're in it, it does come back to you fast. All right, before we go any further, guys, we're going to do a quick sponsor break. And the sponsor today is our new channel, the Accidental Retiree Travel, where you can win up to 150,000 Turkish airline miles. I kid you not. It is super simple. I need you to go to the accidentalretiree.app, and literally within 10 seconds, you're going to be able to sign up and start playing our interactive travel game. And because I want to get you guys into the game and give you a head start, I'm actually going to give you guys the first 4 answers. So go to the accidentalretiree.app, sign in, go to stage 1. It gets you there immediately. Put in Bucharest, all these in lowercase. And then you're going to go to stage 2, put in Mihai Eminescu. Stage 3, put in Wadi Rum. Stage 4, put in Gertrude Bell. Okay, bang, you got literally 4 of my stages solved just like that. Now all you got to do is watch the stage 5 video and start solving on your own and get yourself into the game. We're super stoked about this. I'm interested. What do you think of the game? Leave your comment on the new channel. Now, here's where some of you winter snowbirds are going to get a little bit uncomfortable. I mean, if you're spending 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6 months a year, or maybe you're living here permanent already in Mexico and you still don't speak at least basic Spanish, come on, guys. You're really wasting a golden opportunity. But here's the thing. You're not alone. I need to tell you that the 10 or 15 or 20 minutes a day or even 30 minutes a day on Duolingo is a complete waste of time. So I need you to take the Duolingo app and basically delete it off your phone right now. Followed by hanging out with all your English friends and speaking English every day is really not going to be the way you're going to push through. And I'm not judging, well, maybe just a little bit, but I'm only saying this because I know how much better life gets when you actually break through. All right, so let me give you the system that I've used to learn Spanish, Italian, French, Turkish, and a little bit of Arabic. It's not fancy. It's not really academic, but it works. The number one, Pimsleur or Michel Thomas. Links in the description. Download one of them. You don't need both. I'm actually using Pimsleur right now for keeping up with my Italian, and I got to get back to learning Arabic. But these courses are going to give you structure. They're going to give you foundation. They teach you actually how to think in the language. It's not about memorizing. It's all about thinking and building a solid foundation. So that's number one. And this is literally half the battle right there. So number 2 is passive listening, guys. So I'm up here in the morning, hanging out by the pool. I'm having my coffee. What you need to do is have some Spanish on in the background. It could be a Spanish speaking Mexican radio station. It could be the Mexican news, but try to have something on that's going to be reflective of the accents and the way of speaking that you're hearing around you. So just let it roll in the background. And here's the great thing. This is not about having to listen to it and try to like translate stuff. You're just training your brain. You're training your ear. While you're drinking your coffee, just hanging out, you're hearing all this Spanish in the background. Do that for at least a half an hour a day. But if you have more time, the more time that you can actually do the passive learning where you're just hanging out at home, the Spanish is going in the background, the better this is going to be for you. Your brain can absorb way more than you think. Okay, guys, number 3, and this is where a lot of us fail. You need to immerse, okay, in the community around you. But here's the great thing. You're living in Mexico. You have the most amazing opportunity. So find a butcher, find a tienda that you like, go to the fruteria, go to all the local taquerias. And when you go there, you got to start speaking in Spanish. No matter how terrible your Spanish is at this point, it doesn't matter. You just have to start. And here's the thing. All of those people are going to welcome you, okay? They're not going to laugh at you. They're not going to judge you. A matter of fact, they're going to be somewhat impressed that you're giving it a go. And what you're going to find is over the course of the season, a month later, it's going to improve. 2 months later, you're going to see dramatic improvement. 3 months later, you're going to be like cheese mang with Delia from Delia's, and you're going to be learning all kinds of local slang and things that have become a lot more natural and a lot more comfortable for you. The number 4 method within the method, and that's the Netflix method. We are all watching Netflix or various series, what language are we watching them in right now? Even me. I'm watching it in English, and so are you, right? You got to stop that. No, not all the shows, okay? Here's the thing. Go to Netflix, pick a show that you know. You watch one episode a day, and you watch it in Spanish with English subtitles. And then the next day you come back to that same episode and you watch it again. The next time you come back to it, probably by the fourth time, you're going to find that you're not reading the subtitles anymore, that you're actually understanding what is going on. And it's a weird thing because you're not translating, you just know what's happening in the show. Once you're at that point, okay, finish it off, all right? And then the next day you come back to it and you flip it. Keep it in Spanish, but you put Spanish subtitles. Do about another 2 or 3 episodes where you're watching, but at the same time that you're listening and you know now what's going on, you're reading the Spanish subtitles. This is now helping your brain connect what it is that you're hearing with what it is that you're seeing. So it's going to actually connect the written language with the audible language, which is going to take your learning ability to a whole new level. Trust me. All right, so between those 4 things, it makes up about 100% of the program, okay? You got Pimsleur or Michelle Thomas. That's it, 50%, because that is your base foundation. Your passive listening and your real-life immersion and the whole Netflix, that's the other 50%. You could kind of rank those evenly. I would give a little more credence to actually being out there in the real world, talking with real people. And then the number 5 thing, and consider this, this is where you go over 100%, okay? So you're putting a little bit of icing on the cake. That could be those game apps, okay? So you could put Duolingo on your phone. You could do 15 or 20 minutes of Duolingo at night, something like that. It is gonna aid to your vocabulary, but it is only helping you at this point because you're doing all the other 4 things. All right, guys, so I gotta be honest, like today I'm fluent, okay? Yo puedo hablar español, 100%, pero no estoy perfecto. Mi español no es perfecto. I'm not perfect. My Spanish isn't perfect. I'm going to make mistakes. At the end of the day, no one cares that I'm going to make a mistake mixing up por and para or something like that. No one really cares. What people care about is you actually come in and you're speaking to them in Spanish and you're showing that you want to assimilate and be a part of Mexico culture. Because at the end of the day, language isn't about perfection. It isn't. It is all about the human connection. And in this day of technology, AI, all the crazy stuff that is happening in the world, human connection is one of the last few beautiful things that we all have left. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap this video up. If you're living in Mexico or spending any real time here, give yourself the gift of learning and then speaking a new language. Not perfectly, not academically, just enough to live a fuller Mexican life. And when you do that, Mexico is going to open up in a whole new way for you and is going to be completely different just because you try. So if you like this content, if you want to see more, I need you guys to comment below. Tell me more about what you want to see the Accidental Retiree produce. And while you're at it, hit the like, hit the subscribe, toggle the notification bell. And on that note, I don't think there's anything more to say other than nos vemos. Hasta luego y adiós de la casa de la familia Goralski aquí en Bucerías, México.